Greetings, brave adventurers, and welcome back to the channel. It is I, Eric's UK, here once again. Last night, in a video that I posted, I talked about my interest in the upcoming Daggerheart RPG. And I mentioned a couple of the things that system is doing. One of them is the removal of initiative, and how the combat system differs. And I just watched a video by, this is quite a mouthful, I've got it up in front of me, the character sheet on comicbook.com. What a mouthful of a channel name. Where they talk about 3 up-and-coming RPGs, Daggerheart being one of them, the other being the MCDM RPG, which I have not heard of, and Stormlight, another one I only heard of last night, and how all 3 of these games are ditching the hit roll mechanic in favour of just dealing direct damage, and asking what people thought of this mechanic. And it does appear that the concept of rolling to hit is on its way out. There's various comments in the discussions of that particular video where people are saying that they don't like it going away. It's in RPGs for a reason, and you know, sometimes if you've ever been in a fight, you swing and you miss, and sometimes you swing and you hit, and then you've got people saying that they're glad it seems to be on the way out, because, and I can understand this, sometimes, especially in a game like D&D or Pathfinder or whatever, you can roll and you miss, and then you sit there for 5 minutes while the initiative goes back around the table and comes back to you, and you feel that you're not immersed in the game because you're not doing anything. Nothing happened. You wasted your phase of the combat. And so by going to a straight damage mechanic, you feel that you've still done something heroic and you've still done something. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure where I feel, or not how I feel, or where I stand on this particular aspect of the game, or gaming, I should say. On one hand, rolling to hit, I'll use the D&D example, rolling that D20, and whether you hit or miss can be such a, clench moment. You know, you desperately need that hit and it comes up with a miss, or you roll that 1. And sometimes you get that natural 20 and you're like, yes. You know, that is all part and parcel of what makes a game like Dungeons and Dragons fun. Yes, there is an initiative bit and you're having to wait for it to go around. But that's kind of always been a part of what made combat in role-playing games quite... I don't want to say realistic, because let's be honest, role-playing games aren't realistic, but gave you that sense of investiture is perhaps the way to put it. If you just deal damage, what's the point? You're not having to wait 5 minutes for the turn to come back round, but you're not exactly being immersed into the game. With the likes of Daggerheart, I'm quite intrigued by how they're doing it, because there's no initiative system. In the video that I watched last night, the designer was saying that with a game like Dungeons and Dragons, you are freeform throughout the entire thing until you get to combat, and then all of a sudden you're playing a completely different game system because you suddenly drop into initiatives and you have to go round in order. And Daggerheart doesn't do this. You know, the player basically goes, I'm doing this, and you do that, and then someone else steps up, and the only time that something bad happens, such as you take damage or something, is when you roll with fear. Look at my other video for the explanation of rolling with hope and fear. But I can see a situation where you have a combat where on your 2d12 that you're rolling, nobody rolls with fear. It's unlikely, but I can see it happening, which says to me that maybe monsters and NPC villains have to have a shed load of health or hit points or whatever the system's going to end up using. Because you could have 5-6 characters at the table all going smack and dealing damage before they get to do anything or something. It's not always damage coming back. It might be something like a player rolls with fear. They deal damage to a monster, but that fear result, that bad thing that's going to happen, could be something like a minion, a goblin or something, gets to the lever at the back of the room, pulls it, and a portcullis comes down and blocks you in. You're now stuck in there until you can do something about it. It doesn't have to be damage. I don't know. I'm a little bit on the fence. Yes, it seems very story-driven to always have you just hit and deal damage. There's no roll per se, or the roll isn't necessarily a roll to hit. It's just a roll to do something in your action. I'm not sure. I like rolling to hit. Even when you miss, it feels immersive. It feels like you're actually taking part in the world, in the game a little bit more. But as a few of these videos I've watched here, a few websites said, it looks like the days of rolling to hit are going to be stuck with the likes of D&D. These new games that are coming out, and there's more to them than just the 3 that I mentioned at the start of this video, are going to be heavily not diceless, but you're not going to be rolling to hit. That aspect of combat has gone out the window, and it's role-playing is going in a whole new direction with it. Not sure how I feel about that. As a long-time player, as an old grognard, I'm old enough now and long in the tooth with gaming that I can call myself that now. That I'm not sure that I like it. That is a classic element of all RPGs over the last 40 years. Although there was an Amber, I think it was called. It was a diceless system that came out in the 80s. Never ever played it though. And I know a lot of us don't like change. I don't like change in the real world. You know, I like things to be set the way they are. And that does apply to my gaming. So it's going to be interesting to see where combat in tabletop RPGs goes from here on. What are your thoughts? Agree, disagree, looking forward to it, not looking forward to it? Pop your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you in the comments. Take care. Good gaming.